Tonight, we leave the modern world behind for the quiet of the Middle Ages. Close your eyes and listen. You are back in time, safe and warm. Let the story begin. You find yourself stirring, not with a jolt, but with a slow unfurling, as if a tightly rolled scroll of consciousness were gently eased open by an unseen hand in the pre-dawn quiet of Constantinople. The cool, crisp air of the very early morning, carrying the faint, distant scent of damp earth and something indefinably metallic from the harbor, brushes softly against your cheek, a subtle invitation to waken, to begin the tranquil ritual of the day that lies ahead, stretching out like an unblemished page. You shift slightly on the thin pallet, hearing the quiet rustle of the rough wool beneath you, a sound as soft and unobtrusive as the first breath of a sleeping cat, a gentle reminder of your safe and warm existence within the vast, echoing stone heart of the Great Palace, where the world is still deeply quiet. Your bare feet meet the cool, smooth flagstones of the dormitory floor, a familiar and grounding sensation that sends a mild shiver of wakefulness tracing up your ankles, and you make your way through the hushed corridors, the soft scuff of your simple sandals echoing faintly, absorbed by the thick, ancient walls, carrying only the faintest whisper of your presence into the sleeping palace. The air here, within the labyrinthine passages, holds a different fragrance, a subtle blend of old stone, lamp oil that has burned low through the night, and the ghost of 1,000 past meals, a complex tapestry of smells that is as comforting in its familiarity as the rhythmic drip of water in a distant courtyard fountain. You pass by other silent doorways, sensing the slumbering forms within, knowing that soon they too will begin their own measured journeys into the day, a collective, quiet awakening that is as predictable and calming as the slow unfurling of a rose petal in the first light of spring. Reaching your designated scriptorium, a chamber filled with the hushed industry of countless other scribes, you feel the smooth, worn wood of your stool beneath you, a familiar friend that has cradled your form through countless hours of painstaking labor, and you settle into its embrace with a soft sigh that is barely audible above the gentle, ambient hum of the waking palace. The air in this room is slightly cooler, carrying a faint, sweet aroma of beeswax and the dry, papery scent of old records, a unique olfactory signature that signals the beginning of your steady, unhurried work, a scent that speaks of order, of meticulous duplication, of the quiet, enduring pulse of the empire's silent administration. You reach for your tools with a practiced, almost unconscious grace, your fingers brushing against the smooth, cool shaft of your bronze stylus, its familiar weight a comforting presence in your palm, a simple instrument through which the day's endless stream of information will flow, silently, steadily. Your wooden-framed wax tablet, a rectangle of dark, re-smoothed beeswax, lies before you, its surface a pristine, almost inviting canvas, slightly cool to the touch from the morning air, yet promising to yield readily to the focused pressure of your stylus. You pick it up, feeling the faint, grainy texture of the wooden frame against your fingertips, a grounding sensation that connects you to the natural world, even as your mind prepares to immerse itself in the abstract realm of numbers and names, and you turn it slightly, catching the muted, diffused light from the high window, ensuring there are no imperfections, no stray hairs or dust motes to mar the flawless expanse. The subtle, slightly sweet smell of the beeswax warms gently under your palm as you hold it, a faint, almost imperceptible fragrance that rises to meet you, an olfactory anchor in the quiet sea of your concentration, affirming that all is prepared, that the steady work may now commence. With a deep, slow breath, you position the tablet, its smooth, dark surface a receptive void, and then, with a delicate precision born of countless repetitions, you bring the fine, pointed tip of the bronze stylus down onto the wax, feeling the gentle, almost yielding resistance as it begins to carve its first tentative furrow. The sound is a low, rhythmic scratching, a hypnotic whisper that is unique to the interaction of metal and wax, a sound that quickly becomes the steady, comforting pulse of your morning, joining the faint, distant murmurs of the other scribes already engaged in their own quiet endeavors, creating a symphony of subtle industry. Your gaze drifts from the source document, a slightly creased sheet of parchment detailing provincial grain shipments, to the waiting surface of your tablet, and your hand, guided by a practiced eye, begins to translate the first elegant curve of a Greek alpha, a tiny, perfect mark of silent, meticulous creation. Each character is an act of deliberate formation, a small universe of precision, as you guide the stylus with unwavering control, ensuring that the lines are uniform, the curves perfectly rounded, the serifs exactly as they should be, maintaining the precise, elegant cursive demanded by the meticulous standards of the Imperial chancellery. Your concentration narrows, focusing solely on the subtle interplay of pressure and angle, the way the bronze glides through the soft, pliable wax, leaving behind a crisp, clean indentation, a tangible record of your painstaking attention to detail, a testament to the unhurried passage of the quiet morning. The world outside the immediate space of your hand and tablet recedes, becoming a soft, indistinct hum, a background tapestry against which the precise, rhythmic scratching of your stylus stands out, a reassuring and constant presence. The slightly sweet smell of the beeswax continues to rise, a subtle, almost unconscious companion, warming further as the tablet rests in the crook of your arm, its familiar scent a steadying influence, a constant reminder of the material reality of your quiet, repetitive task. You feel the faint, almost imperceptible warmth radiating from the wax, a gentle glow that seems to emanate from its very core, a comforting presence that soothes the small anxieties of the day, making the long hours seem less daunting, less endless. Your fingers, though engaged in a delicate dance of control, also absorb this gentle warmth, a subtle, tactile connection to the very substance of your work, a physical grounding that helps to maintain the unblemished flow of your concentration. The rhythm of the work settles into a deep, unwavering hum, a steady cadence of reading, translating, and inscribing, each line of text following the one before it with an inexorable, unhurried progression, a continuous stream of identical marks that will form a complete record by the end of the day. There is a profound, almost meditative quality to this repetition, a tranquil absorption that allows your mind to drift gently, remaining tethered only by the necessity of perfect execution, a quiet space where the passage of time becomes an indistinct blur, and you are simply here, absorbed in this steady task. The soft, scratchy whisper of the stylus becomes a lullaby, a constant, soothing accompaniment to the quiet unfolding of the morning, pulling you deeper into the monotonous security of your routine. A subtle ache begins to form in the muscles of your hand and wrist, a faint, persistent tension that is a familiar companion, a testament to the hours of precise, unwavering control required to maintain the flawless uniformity of the script. You shift your grip almost imperceptibly, flexing your fingers to ease the strain, but the underlying pressure remains, a gentle reminder of the physical dedication demanded by your craft, a quiet, almost welcome discomfort that grounds you in the present moment, in the tactile reality of your labor. This slight physical burden is not a complaint, but simply a part of the process, a natural consequence of the diligent effort, an unspoken affirmation of the value of your steady, unyielding work, a quiet testament to the meticulous care you pour into each character, each line, each completed tablet. Your mind, though deeply absorbed in the precise formation of each character, also drifts in the periphery, a gentle, almost imperceptible current beneath the surface of your conscious focus, contemplating the endless nature of these records, the fleeting presence of these numbers and names, destined to be melted away and rewritten tomorrow. There is a quiet acceptance in this understanding, a tranquil resignation to the cycle of creation and erasure, knowing that your value lies not in the permanence of the text, but in the flawless execution of its temporary form, in the perfect, disposable duplication that ensures the smooth functioning of the vast imperial machinery. This subtle awareness of the impermanence of your work, far from being disheartening, instead contributes to the deep calm, freeing you from the burden of lasting creation, allowing you to simply be, to simply do, in the safe and quiet rhythm of your day. Yet beneath this tranquil absorption, a faint, almost imperceptible tremor of caution lingers in your fingertips, a quiet awareness of the ever-present threat of error, a single slip of the stylus that could shatter the quiet perfection of the moment, disrupting the smooth flow of your work. You feel the fine edge of the bronze tip against the yielding wax, a delicate balance of pressure and control, and your breath holds just a fraction longer as you execute a particularly intricate flourish, a silent plea for unwavering precision, for the continuation of this unbroken, meditative progress. This subtle undercurrent of vigilance, far from creating tension, instead heightens your focus, sharpening your senses, making the act of writing even more deeply immersive, a quiet dance between skill and the potential for fleeting imperfection. You imagine, for a fleeting moment, the consequence of such a slip, the jarring sight of an ill-formed character, a misplaced line, a momentary blemish on the otherwise pristine surface, an interruption to the unblemished flow of the grain shipment numbers. Then comes the slow, deliberate process of correction, the search for the hot spatula, its warm, flat edge pressing against the wax, melting the flawed section into a soft, malleable pool, erasing the mistake with a gentle, almost regretful thwip of sound. The slightly sweeter smell of the beeswax would intensify momentarily as it yielded to the heat, a brief, pungent burst of fragrance before settling back into its gentle hum, another reminder of the material world that grounds your quiet labor. Then the careful resmoothing, the patient shaping of the warm, softened wax with the flat of the spatula, working it back into a uniform, unblemished surface. A small, dark mirror ready to receive the correct characters, but only after precious moments of the morning have slipped away, irrecoverable, yet part of the necessary ritual. This silent, meticulous act of erasure and renewal, though a disruption, is itself a part of the deep, slow rhythm, a reminder that perfection is not a given, but a constantly re-established state, a quiet testament to the dedication required for even the most mundane of tasks. The thought of this brief interruption, this necessary pause, only deepens your appreciation for the smooth, unbroken passage of your current work, for the quiet satisfaction of each perfectly formed line. And so you return your focus to the precise curve of the gamma, the precise angle of the delta, each character a small, silent victory, a testament to your unwavering concentration. the steady, rhythmic scratching of the bronze stylus against the beeswax, a continuous, soothing murmur in the quiet chamber. The light from the high window shifts almost imperceptibly, growing brighter, softer, as the sun climbs higher, but the task remains the same, the steady flow of information, the quiet act of duplication, the silent hum of efficiency. Your fingers move with a graceful, practiced economy, each stroke purposeful, each line a confirmation of the quiet order that governs your world, safe and warm in your routine. You are simply a conduit, a silent vessel through which the ephemeral records of the empire flow, translated from one form to another, leaving no lasting trace on the tablet itself, yet contributing to the vast, invisible machinery that keeps the empire moving steadily, predictably. There is a profound, almost liberating anonymity in this role, a quiet freedom from the burden of authorship, allowing you to simply exist within the process, a small, essential cog in a much larger, endlessly turning wheel where the world is quiet and your purpose is clear. This sense of being a part of something vast and ancient, yet performing a task so singularly focused, brings a unique, deep sense of tranquility, a comfort in knowing your place, your steady, unchanging function. The morning unfolds with the glacial pace of a glacier carving stone, each moment passing with an unhurried grace, marked only by the incremental progress of your stylus across the dark, receptive wax, the growing number of perfectly copied lines. The faint, sweet smell of beeswax continues its gentle ascent, a constant, grounding companion, while the rhythmic scratching of your stylus remains the most prominent sound, a steady, hypnotic pulse in the quiet air of the scriptorium. You feel the subtle strain in your fingers, a familiar and reassuring ache that signifies the diligent passage of time, the tireless dedication to your craft, a quiet testament to the meticulous care you pour into each character, each line, each perfectly smoothed surface. This comforting monotony, this deep, unchanging rhythm of work, wraps around you like a soft, familiar cloak, protecting you from the clamor and complexities of the world beyond the palace walls, creating a sanctuary of quiet repetition. You are safe in this routine, nestled within the predictable cycles of the administrative day, where every task is known, every motion practiced, every outcome anticipated, a gentle assurance that the world is quiet and ordered. The silent, steady work of copying grain shipments and provincial tax quotas, a task so seemingly small, becomes a vast ocean of calm, a boundless expanse of tranquil, repetitive action that soothes the mind and stills the soul, preparing you for a deep, restful slumber. You know with a serene certainty that tomorrow, the very lines you are now so painstakingly inscribing will be gently scraped away, the wax re-smoothed and readied for a new day's records, a fresh canvas for new numbers. The morning light in the Great Palace of Constantinople does not arrive with a shout, but with a slow, amber-hued crawl across the cool marble floors of the scriptorium. You sit upon your backless wooden stool, your spine a curved arc of practiced stillness, as the world outside the high, narrow windows remains hushed and distant. Here, in the heart of the bureaucracy, time is not measured by the ticking of a clock, but by the steady, rhythmic movement of your hand across the surface of a wooden-framed wax tablet. The air is thick, with the scent of old things of dry parchment stored in cedar chests, of the faint, drifting smoke from a distant charcoal brazier, and most prominently, the sweet, heavy aroma of the dark beeswax that fills the shallow tray before you. You are safe and still, and the world is quiet. Your hand, calloused at the knuckle of the middle finger, reaches for the bronze stylus. It is a simple tool, cold to the touch and heavy for its size, its weight balanced perfectly between your thumb and forefinger. You feel the chill of the metal slowly absorbing the warmth of your skin as you hold it poised above the smooth, dark surface of the wax. The wax is a deep, honey-brown color, its surface perfectly level and undisturbed, reflecting the dim light of the oil lamp that flickers at your elbow. You take a slow, deep breath, feeling the air move coolly into your lungs, and then you begin. The first stroke is a vertical line, a single, unwavering descent into the yielding material. There is a specific sound that accompanies this motion, a soft, dry scritch that vibrates up through the bronze and into the bones of your hand. It is a hypnotic sound, a tiny, rasping whisper that fills the silence of the room. You are copying the records of grain shipments from the Thracian coast, a list of numbers and names that have no meaning beyond their own existence. Cetos, you write in the elegant, sloping cursive of the Imperial administration. The sigma is a rounded curve, the stylus carving a shallow trench into the wax, leaving behind a tiny, pale curl of shaved beeswax that sits like a microscopic wave beside the letter. You watch as the bronze point pushes through the resistance, the sensation both firm and buttery, a perfect marriage of friction and flow. As you move to the next letter, the smell of the wax intensifies, warmed by the proximity of your palm. It is a comforting, ancient scent, reminiscent of sun-drenched hillsides and the tireless work of bees in the heat of midsummer. You focus on the iota, a simple downward stroke, ensuring it is perfectly parallel to the first line of the sigma. Your value, your entire purpose in this quiet corner of the palace is found in this exactness. Each letter must be a mirror of the one that came before it, a uniform procession of Greek characters that march across the tablet in flawless rows. You feel the slight strain in your fingers, a dull, familiar ache that tells you your grip is secure, your focus absolute. The world is quiet, and you are still. You move to the tau, the horizontal bar crossing the vertical with a minute, satisfying click of metal against the wooden frame of the tablet. The repetitive nature of the task begins to pull at your consciousness, drawing you into a state of glassy-eyed meditation. Modioi, the next word begins, a measure of grain that will be forgotten by tomorrow. You carve the mu, 4 distinct strokes that require a delicate shift in pressure. If you press too hard, the stylus will hit the wood beneath the wax with a jarring thud. If you press too lightly, the character will be a ghost, a faint scratch that the eye cannot easily follow. You find the middle ground, the perfect depth, feeling the wax yield to your will. The scritch, scritch, scritch of the bronze continues, a private music that anchors you to the present moment. There is a profound, heavy stillness in the scriptorium. Occasionally, you hear the distant rustle of another scribe's robes, or the soft, wet sound of a reed pen being dipped into an inkwell in the far corner of the hall, but these sounds only serve to emphasize the silence. You are focused entirely on the omicron, a perfect circle, that requires a steady, rotating motion of the wrist. You watch the bronze tip travel the full 360 degrees, meeting the starting point with seamless precision. The circle is smooth, its edges crisp in the dark wax. You pause for a moment, resting the stylus, and look at the line you have created. It is beautiful in its monotony, a string of symbols representing nothing but the passage of time and the dedication of your hand. The psychological weight of the work lies in the constant, low-humming awareness of the spatula. At the opposite end of your stylus is a flat, broad blade of polished bronze designed for a single purpose: erasure. If your hand should slip, if a stray thought should cause your finger to twitch and mar the perfect geometry of a letter, the work is ruined. You would have to take the small, heated spatula from the brazier's edge and press it against the wax, melting the error back into a featureless pool. But the heat often spreads, softening the surrounding letters, blurring the sharp lines you spent the last hour perfecting. A single mistake often means the entire tablet must be scraped flat, the wax re-smoothed with a hot iron until it is a blank, dark mirror once more. This knowledge does not bring anxiety, but rather a deep, grounding focus. It forces you to exist only in the millimeter of space where the bronze meets the wax. Nothing else exists. The empire may rise or fall, the seas may surge against the city walls, but for you, there is only the next stroke of the upsilon. You continue down the list. Alexandros of Anos, 40 modioi. Leon of Selimbria, 60 modioi. The names are rhythmic, a litany of ghosts. You feel the warmth of the lamp on your cheek, the soft glow illuminating the fine dust motes that dance in the air above your tablet. The air is still, the palace is silent, and the work is eternal. You are a vessel for the ink and the wax, a conduit through which the mundane details of the world are recorded and then, eventually, forgotten. As you reach the bottom of the first column, your fingers are stiff, yet you do not stop. You shift your weight slightly on the stool, feeling the texture of the rough wool of your tunic against your skin, and begin the next line. The sound of the stylus becomes a heartbeat, a steady, rasping pulse that marks the slow evaporation of the afternoon. Scratchy. 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 The smell of the beeswax is now a part of you, a sweetness that seems to coat the back of your throat. You are safe and warm, and the world is quiet. You watch as the bronze tip carves the final alpha of the page, the three strokes intersecting with a grace that only comes from years of repetition. You lift the stylus, your hand hovering for a second in the air before you slowly set it down on the desk. The tablet is full. It is a masterpiece of the mundane, a perfect grid of disposable information. Tomorrow, or perhaps the day after, a superior will glance at these numbers, transfer them to a permanent scroll, and then the wax will be melted, the surface smoothed, and you will begin again. You lean back, your eyes heavy, watching the amber light fade into the gray of twilight, content in the knowledge that for today the lines were straight The wax was smooth, and the silence was absolute. You settle into your accustomed place, the cool, smooth stone of the bench a familiar presence beneath you, its chill slowly giving way to the warmth of your form as the morning light. A pale, diffused glow filters through the high, arched window, illuminating the motes of dust that dance lazily in the still air of the Great Palace's scriptorium. The faint, sweet scent of beeswax, a constant companion in this chamber of diligent industry, mingles subtly with the dry, papery aroma of ancient scrolls and the clean, earthy tang of the cool air that drifts in from outside, creating a quiet olfactory tapestry around you, safe and calm. Your fingers, slender and accustomed, find the smooth, worn surface of your wooden-framed wax tablet, its weight familiar in your palm, the cool, dark wax yielding ever so slightly to the gentle pressure of your thumb, ready to receive the day's quiet work. With a soft, almost inaudible scrape, you draw forth your bronze stylus from its shallow groove in the wooden frame, the metallic coolness a stark contrast to the emerging warmth of the beeswax beneath your palm. The stylus rests lightly between your fingers, its sharpened point poised, glinting faintly in the soft light, a tiny, silent sentinel awaiting its duty. You take a slow, deep breath, the air filling your lungs with a sense of quiet purpose, and then, with deliberate precision, you align the stylus with the topmost edge of the smoothed wax, allowing its point to touch down with the most delicate of pressures, a barely there whisper of contact before the first, foundational stroke begins. The world is quiet, save for the soft, rhythmic inhale and exhale of your own steady breath, a soothing, internal rhythm. The first character forms a graceful curve of Greek, the bronze point carving a shallow, dark line into the pale, yielding wax, leaving behind a subtle ridge of displaced material. A faint, almost imperceptible scratching sound, like the whisper of dry leaves on stone, accompanies the meticulous movement of your hand, a sound so familiar it has become an extension of your own thoughts, a quiet, reassuring counterpoint to the silent concentration that governs your every movement. You focus on the source document before you, a carefully unrolled piece of parchment detailing the latest grain shipments from the fertile fields of Anatolia, its faded ink and slightly coarse texture a distant echo of the journey the words have already made, arriving here now for their mundane, essential replication. Your eyes trace the familiar shapes, the names of distant ports, the measured quantities of wheat and barley, the dates of departure and arrival, all flowing in a steady, unhurried stream from the parchment to your mind. And then, with careful precision, through your hand and the bronze stylus, onto the waiting wax. Each letter is a miniature act of creation, a careful balance of pressure and movement, ensuring uniformity, a consistent depth of line, a perfect, unblemished form that mirrors the original with unwavering accuracy. The slightly sweet aroma of the beeswax, warmed by the prolonged contact with your hand, rises faintly, a comforting, almost drowsy fragrance that permeates the air around your workspace, a gentle reminder of the material you shape. The rhythm establishes itself, a slow, deliberate dance of eye and hand, of bronze and wax. You complete one word, then another, the faint, scratchy whisper of the stylus, a continuous, lulling drone that fills the immediate space around you, joining the equally quiet, distant sounds of other scribes in the vast room, their own styluses engaged in their own quiet, repetitive tasks. Your fingers, accustomed to this intricate ballet, begin to ache with a dull, persistent throb, a quiet testament to the hours of precise, unwavering control, yet it is an ache that feels strangely comforting, a familiar companion in this diligent pursuit of perfect, temporary duplication. The gentle coolness of the bronze against your fingertips, contrasted with the subtle warmth of the wax, creates a continuous, grounding sensation. As the morning wears on, the light outside shifts imperceptibly, casting slightly longer shadows across the polished floor, though within the scriptorium, the dim, diffused illumination remains largely constant, undisturbed by the sun's slow arc. You move on to the next section of the record, the grain shipments giving way to the provincial tax quotas, a new set of numbers and names, different regions, different sums, yet the process remains utterly, wonderfully the same. Each carefully formed Greek character, each perfectly spaced word, each flawlessly straight line of text is a small victory against the potential for deviation, a testament to the quiet discipline of your craft. The very air feels heavy with the accumulated diligence, a sense of deep, unwavering purpose. There is a moment, perhaps, when your concentration wavers, a fleeting second where your gaze blurs, or your hand feels an almost imperceptible tremor, a tiny flicker of fatigue. In that instant, a quiet, almost subconscious tension ripples through you, a subtle awareness of the potential for error. A single slip, a clumsy scratch, a misplaced character, and the entire tablet, the accumulated work of hours, would need to be erased. The image of the hot spatula, its smooth metal scraping flat the carefully inscribed wax, reducing your meticulous efforts to a featureless plane once more, flashes across your inner eye, accompanied by the faint, acrid smell of scorched wax and the dull thud of the re-smoothed tablet, cold and unforgiving, ready for a fresh start. But the moment passes, a quiet breath taken, a refocusing of your gaze, a renewed grip on the cool, firm bronze. The potential for error recedes, replaced by the steady, unwavering discipline of your training. You press on, the scratchy sound of the stylus resuming its hypnotic rhythm, the slightly sweet scent of the beeswax reasserting its comforting presence. The intricate loops and straight lines of the Greek script flow forth once more, each character a perfect, uniform echo of its predecessor, each line a testament to your steady hand and focused mind. The world is quiet, safe in its predictability, and you are a part of that quiet, steady flow. The afternoon unfolds with the same glacial pace, the stacks of completed tablets slowly growing beside you, each one a testament to the day's patient, unhurried labor. The fine dust that perpetually settles on every surface here, a quiet, almost invisible blanket, seems to deepen as the hours pass, catching the weakening light in subtle ways. The cool stone beneath your feet retains its chill, a constant, grounding presence, while the wax beneath your hand continues to warm, then cool, then warm again, responding to the ebb and flow of your touch. The faint, persistent ache in your fingers, a familiar friend, reminds you of the tireless repetition, the unwavering commitment to the perfect, disposable duplication that defines your days. You continue to copy, line after perfect line, the mundane figures of taxes and shipments accumulating, each one meticulously rendered, each destined to serve its purpose for a day, a week, perhaps a month, before the wax is gently warmed, smoothed flat, and made ready for new, equally ephemeral truths. The knowledge that your flawless work will be melted away tomorrow brings no sadness, only a quiet understanding of the natural order of things, a calming acceptance of the transient nature of these records. Your value is measured in the flawless lines you create, the precise duplication you achieve, a silent, humble contribution to the vast, administrative hum of the Great Palace. The light outside begins its slow descent, painting the distant sky with hues you cannot see from your windowless alcove, but you feel its subtle shift, a gentle cooling in the air, a deepening of the shadows in the far corners of the scriptorium. The scratch of your stylus continues, a steady, hypnotic drone, a soothing counterpoint to the quiet hum of the palace, a sound that promises continuity and calm. You are merely an extension of the process, a conduit for the glacial flow of familiar script, and in this quiet, repetitive act, there is a deep, tranquil peace, a gentle rhythm that lulls the mind and soothes the soul, safe and warm within the quiet confines of the day's unwavering, meticulous work. You are bent over your work surface in the third-floor scriptorium of the Great Palace, where the light filters through narrow windows set high in the limestone walls. The wooden frame of your wax tablet rests against the edge of the desk, its familiar weight pressing into the polished wood that has been smoothed by countless palms before yours. Your fingers hold the bronze stylus with the practiced grip you learned in your first week here 7 years ago now, when the weight of the tool felt foreign and the characters emerged crooked and hesitant from the beeswax surface. The tablet before you contains the morning's assignment, a record of grain shipments from the province of Thrace, destined for the Imperial granaries near the harbor. You copy from a parchment sheet that hangs from a wooden rod at eye level, each line a repetition of weights and measures, village names and storage dates. The stylus moves through the wax with a soft, scratching whisper, a sound so constant in this room that it becomes part of the silence itself. The bronze tip carves through the pale yellow surface, revealing the darker wood beneath, and each stroke requires the same pressure, the same angle, the same unhurried deliberation. The smell of beeswax surrounds you, slightly sweet and warm, intensifying as the heat from your palm transfers into the tablet's surface. On cold mornings, the wax resists your stylus, requiring more force, but today the temperature is mild and the material yields with perfect consistency. You can feel the warmth building in the tablet where your hand rests along its edge, and this warmth spreads slowly, making the wax more pliable with each passing hour. The world is quiet here, safe and warm, far from the bustle of the palace courtyards below. Your fingers ache with the familiar strain of maintaining the proper forms. Each character of Greek cursive must flow into the next with seamless precision, the loops and curves identical to those you made yesterday and the day before and the day before that. The lambda must connect to the epsilon with a particular flourish, neither too elaborate nor too plain, exactly as your supervisor demonstrated when you first arrived. The sigma must curl back upon itself in the prescribed manner. Every letter is a small test of your consistency, your reliability, your worth. You reach the end of a line and pause, lifting the stylus, checking your work against the parchment model. The characters march across the wax in orderly columns, each one a mirror of its template. Your eye traces the familiar shapes, searching for any deviation, any wobble in a vertical stroke, any loop that extends too far. Finding none, you lower the stylus to begin the next line. The bronze tip touches wax again, and the soft scratching resumes, steady and methodical, the sound of your labor and your value. 3 tablets rest to your left, already completed this morning, their surfaces covered with your careful script. 3 more wait to your right, their wax surfaces smooth and unmarked, holding space for the afternoon's copying. The rhythm of the work is absolute. Copy, check, set aside, begin again. The world is quiet here. Nothing changes except the slow progression of bronze through wax, the gradual accumulation of identical words. You think of nothing as you work. Your mind has learned to rest in the repetition itself, in the sensory constancy of stylus and wax, and the faint whisper of scratching. The smell of beeswax fills your nostrils with each breath. The pressure of the wooden frame against your palm creates a warm patch on your skin. The light from the high windows shifts by degrees across your work surface, imperceptible from moment to moment, visible only when you glance up after an hour has passed. The fear lives in your fingers, in the constant awareness of potential error. A single moment of inattention, a slip of the stylus, a character formed with too much pressure or too little care, and the entire tablet must be corrected. You have learned the procedure well, the hot iron spatula heated in the small brazier near the window, the careful scraping that removes the ruined text, the smoothing motion that restores the surface to blankness, the waiting while the wax cools and firms again. Then the work begins anew, from the first character, as though the previous hours never existed. You have performed this correction ritual many times. The smell of heated wax is sharper, more acrid than the gentle sweetness of the cool surface. The spatula must be held at precisely the right angle to avoid gouging the wax entirely, creating valleys that cannot be smoothed away. The motion is slow, patient, erasing your morning's labor stroke by stroke until nothing remains but potential once more. The world is quiet then, too, though the quiet feels different, heavier, as you wait for the surface to become ready again. But today, your hand is steady. Today, the characters emerge uniform and correct, line after line, tablet after tablet. The grain shipments from Thrace are recorded with perfect fidelity. 300 medimnoi from the village of Heraclea, 200 from Didymoticon, 450 from Adrianople. The numbers and names flow from parchment to wax without variation, without personality, without anything except exact duplication. Your shoulders curve forward over the work. Your breathing is shallow and regular. The scratching continues, soft and constant, the sound of bronze through beeswax, the sound of a day passing in perfect, disposable increments. Tomorrow these tablets will be read, their information transferred to the permanent ledgers, and then the wax will be heated and smoothed flat once more, ready for new words, new numbers, new repetitions. The afternoon light creeps across your workspace, safe and warm, and the stylus moves through its patient arc, and the world is quiet, and nothing happens, and nothing changes, and you continue. Then the wax will be heated and smoothed flat once more, ready for new words, new numbers, new repetitions. The afternoon light creeps across your workspace, safe and warm, illuminating the dust motes that dance lazily in the air. The scent of beeswax and parchment mingles with the faint, sweet aroma of the meadow flowers blooming just outside your window. The distant hum of village life is a comforting lullaby, punctuated by the occasional cluck of a contented chicken or the soft bleat of a sheep. Your quill glides effortlessly across the page, the rhythm of your work soothing like a gentle heartbeat. The quiet rustle of the pages turning, the soft scratch of the stylus, and the subtle shift of the sunlight are the only movements in this tranquil moment. You are at peace, and the world continues its quiet dance around you. The gentle release of evenings haze you are seated, as you have been for uncounted hours, at your simple, sturdy desk in a quiet alcove of the Great Palace. The light, once a crisp, almost insistent presence filtering through the high, arched windows, now softens, stretching long, muted fingers across the cool stone floor. The air, which held the faint, crisp scent of morning, now carries the subtle, richer aroma of beeswax mingled with the ancient dust of scrolls and the faint, sweet smoke of dwindling oil lamps. You feel the steady, reassuring weight of the wooden-framed wax tablet resting firmly in your left hand, its smooth, dark surface a familiar comfort against your palm. The world around you settles into a deeper quietude, a hushed reverence for the slow, inevitable approach of evening, and you are safe and warm within its calm embrace. Your fingers, accustomed to the subtle contours of the tablet, maintain a gentle, unwavering pressure, guiding the bronze stylus with a practiced grace that belies the intricate precision required. The stylus itself, cool and slender, feels almost an extension of your own will, its pointed tip poised above the yielding wax. A faint, almost imperceptible metallic tang lingers on your fingertips, a ghost of countless hours spent in this meditative act. From somewhere far off, beyond the thick palace walls, you might faintly discern the distant, rhythmic clang of a blacksmith's hammer or the faint, melodious cry of a street vendor. But here, in your secluded corner, the only sound that truly registers is the soft, hypnotic scratch, scratch, scratch of bronze on beeswax, a sound as old and enduring as the records you diligently transcribe. Today, as with so many days that have blended into an indistinguishable stream of quiet labor, your task is the meticulous duplication of provincial tax quotas. You are copying figures, columns of them, carefully rendering each numeral and accompanying Greek character with an unwavering consistency. The previous tablet contained a detailed inventory of grain shipments from Anatolia, its lines a testament to the flow of sustenance across the empire. Now it is the precise accounting of drachmas and obols, a silent echo of distant markets and the careful balance of imperial coffers. Your gaze drifts across the source document, a brittle piece of parchment held flat by small, smooth stones, its ink faded but still legible, its message utterly devoid of urgency or drama. You feel the slight, comforting roughness of the parchment beneath your fingertips as you steady it, and the faint, dry scent of aged paper wafts gently upwards. The world is quiet, and you are simply transcribing. The beeswax itself, a rich, dark brown, feels almost alive under your working hand. It has softened slightly from the persistent warmth of your palm, becoming more amenable to the stylus's touch. A faint, earthy sweetness rises from it, a natural, calming perfume that subtly fills your immediate space. You press the stylus down, just so, feeling the subtle resistance, the tiny, satisfying give as the bronze carves its clean, shallow furrow. Each stroke is deliberate, each curve and angle of the Greek script meticulously formed, reflecting the precise hand of generations of scribes before you. You focus on the kappa, the alpha, the gamma, each character a small, perfect monument of order. The quiet intensity of this concentration is a soothing balm, pulling your mind into a singular, focused point, away from any idle thought or extraneous concern. Your posture, though maintained for hours, remains remarkably steady. Your back is straight, your shoulders relaxed, your head slightly bowed, a comfortable, almost prayer-like position. The only tension, a subtle, underlying hum, resides in the tiny muscles of your right hand, guiding the stylus with such deliberate care. A single slip, a momentary lapse in concentration, a tremor in your finger, and the beautifully rendered line could be marred. The thought, a fleeting shadow, passes through your mind, bringing with it the familiar, quiet dread of error. To make a mistake would mean the laborious process of scraping the entire tablet smooth with a hot spatula, the wax remelted and resmoothed, the surface prepared anew, and the painstaking work begun again from the very first character. This quiet, internal tension is always present, a reminder of the value of flawless, patient accuracy in this world of meticulous duplication. The scratch, scratch, scratch continues, a gentle rhythm that marks the steady passage of time. You watch the characters emerge, one after another, perfect and uniform, a testament to endless practice and unwavering dedication. The cool, smooth surface of the stylus against your skin, the subtle give of the wax, the faint, sweet scent rising from the tablet, these are the anchors of your existence in this moment. The light outside the window continues its slow retreat, deepening the shadows around the edges of the room, softening the harsh lines of the architecture. You can now clearly see the flickering glow of the oil lamp on your desk, its small, steady flame casting a warm, buttery light upon your work, illuminating the precise grooves you are carving into the wax. The world is quiet, and you are immersed in your task. You finish another line, then another, the Greek script flowing across the tablet like a slow, deliberate river. The monotonous nature of the content, lists of figures, names of distant villages, dates, is precisely what makes it so conducive to this deeply meditative state. There is no need to interpret, no call to analyze, only to perfectly replicate. Your eye traces the forms on the source parchment, your hand replicates them on the wax, a silent, unbroken chain of transmission. The rhythmic sound of your stylus is joined, perhaps, by the even softer whisper of another scribe turning a page in a nearby alcove, or the faint, almost imperceptible creak of an old wooden beam settling above. These sounds, far from disturbing, only deepen the sense of tranquil enclosure, a shared commitment to quiet, purposeful work. As the last rays of sunlight fade entirely, leaving only the soft, warm glow of the lamps, you feel a subtle shift within you. The day's labors are nearing their quiet conclusion. You complete the final column of figures on the current tablet, your stylus moving with the same unwavering precision as it did hours ago. The very last zeta, a perfectly symmetrical mark, is etched into the wax. You lift the stylus, feeling its cool, familiar weight, and place it carefully beside the tablet, a faint, almost imperceptible clink on the wooden surface. Your fingers, though a little stiff, feel a sense of quiet accomplishment. The sweet, earthy scent of the beeswax lingers around you, a gentle reminder of the hours spent in its silent company. You carefully lift the completed tablet, its surface now a silent testament to countless precise strokes, and place it gently onto a small, growing stack of others that have been filled today. Each one is a record, meticulously copied, destined to serve its purpose for a fleeting time before its wax is scraped clean, melted down, and reborn to receive new, equally ephemeral information. You know that tomorrow, or perhaps the day after, this very tablet, this precise arrangement of characters, will be erased, smoothed, and prepared for another day's grain shipments or tax quotas. This knowledge, rather than diminishing your work, imbues it with a peculiar, cyclical beauty, a quiet acceptance of the flow of time and the temporary nature of all things. You stretch slowly, feeling the gentle release in your shoulders and back, a silent unwinding of the day's long, steady focus. The lamp flickers softly, casting dancing shadows on the wall, illuminating the quiet dignity of your workspace. The air is still, carrying the lingering scent of beeswax and old parchment. The world outside is now truly dark, the sounds of the city muted to a whisper, and a profound sense of peace descends. You gather your few simple tools, your stylus, your small smoothing cloth, and place them neatly in their wooden box. The day's careful, monotonous work is done. You rise from your seat, your movements slow and deliberate, a quiet figure moving through the deepening twilight of the scriptorium, leaving behind the faint, sweet scent of industry, ready for the quiet promise of rest. The world is quiet, and all is